Yeah.
Wags is kind of looking for the same thing, right? At the old Hacienda.
He is. Yeah, he called me in a panic this week, which I'm sure we'll jump into when we talk to him. But I kind of felt for him a little bit. But I think it's like, we're in the radio business, right? And frequency sells.
Right.
So I just had to get to like a 12 frequency with him in volunteering my time.
Hey, over here. Yeah. Over here.
Right.
Over here.
We'll work. We'll work.
Yes.
But yeah, he's good. I think he's kind of in an interesting spot right now because he's very excited to be in the playoffs, very stressed about deer season.
Yeah.
I hate to be him right now.
Oh, I thought you said it was going to be, the fact that he had to unload some more boxes or whatever he does on his third side.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that'll be starting up again.
That man is involved in too many things.
It's funny when we went up to HHA in December, he's like telling me all the different things that he's involved with.
Yeah.
Like, you have like 12 jobs, Wags. What are you doing?
I know. It just,
I guess.
That's why we love the guy. So Wags is going to be with us in the next segment today. I'm also looking forward in segment number 2. I got a sneak preview from you about I'm going to call it a technological war.
Ooh.
That's going on in the Bass Tournament Fishing Society, correct?
Yeah. The Bassmaster Elite Series has some changes that have been kind of humming along in the background.
They rattled a few cages.
And we've finally gotten to a point where something is going to happen.
Well, what it is, and we've seen this in many other platforms, it's new school, old school, right?
Right.
And they're trying to find some middle ground, and so far it's like, nope.
Yeah, the old guys want it one way, the young guys want it a different way, and I guess that's kind of just how everything is now. There's just two very different mindsets about how to go about things, and how do we come to a common ground, what's fair for everybody. And, it's not like the people who are way far into technology are doing anything they shouldn't be. It's all above board, and it's just they're using those things to their advantage. So until something changes, which it sounds like coming up for the 2026 season, there will be some changes. Why not use what you have at your disposal?
I'm really fascinated to see when you guys get in the woods here soon, how the cold snap we're in the middle of right now has affected things, if it affects things.
Right.
I know what you're hoping for first and foremost, that it gets rid of all the damn mosquitoes.
Yeah, it's just been miserable.
That's all the water we've had.
I know. It's just, it seems really bad because of the water, but also we've had very moderate temps. Like, we've had maybe 1 or 2 days of 40 degrees until this week. So we haven't gotten that big push. And then, I don't know. I don't know if it was Tuesday night into Wednesday morning or Monday night into Tuesday morning, but we just got hammered again in Oconomowoc with rain. So it's like we can't really escape this, and we just keep getting more and more moisture. And I don't know. I've tried a couple different things, and I don't think there actually is a hope. So
where was I at? Oh, I was at my wife's nephew's football game.
Yeah.
And she was all bundled up not because it was cold.
Right.
Because she was afraid of mosquitoes. And that night, it was about 56 with the wind off Lake Monona, because we're in the Madison area. And I'm like, honey, there ain't no mosquitoes out here. None whatsoever. But on the flip side, earlier, it was over Labor Day weekend. Was it Monday, Tuesday? Monday, Tuesday. In Lake Mills, they have maybe it's part of the Glacier Trail, but they have a beautiful bike trail, that state bike trail that runs right through one part of town. And it runs adjacent to Rock Lake.
Okay.
And so we walked down to Rock Lake, had a bite to eat, and then we were walking back.
Yeah.
Well, when we walked down, we took the streets and then towards the boat ramp and went down that way to the park. Well, when you come back, there is a little, because if you're familiar with the Rock Lake area in Lake Mills, there's 2 campgrounds, okay? mobile home park, whatever you want to call it. And there is on the trail, the trail splits both campsites. Well, there's a kind of a cement, if you want to call it a road, that goes up.
Yeah.
Up to, and then you walk across the trail and you go down the other side so people with their golf carts can access, right? So we're walking back and my wife says, well, let's take the trail back. We weren't even 50 yards on the trail and we were immersed in mosquitoes and bugs. And I looked at her and I go, are you serious? If we would have stayed on the street, we would have had, there was nothing on the way down. But when you get into wooded areas, and you know this better than I do, I'm just like, honey, what are we doing? Let's get out of here.
What were we thinking?
What were we thinking?
Yeah, it's gotten to the point for us that we don't even take the dogs for walks. We'll go out in the backyard and we'll throw the ball for the dogs so they can get some exercise that way. But we tried last week, or maybe it was the week before, and we weren't even at the end of the road. And Sherry and I split up and walked our different speeds just to get home to get the dogs exercise.
Friend, thanks for joining us on this Saturday. Got to be a lot of fun at the old ballpark right now, huh?
Yeah, very, very exciting. You know what? It was a long season, 100 games, but I'm telling you, what a relief to get into. I'm not saying relief like we're done, but I love meaningful baseball. We got to the point where we clinched a playoff spot pretty early, and then we ended up clinching, obviously, the division championship or the division title, number 1 seed. But some of those games were a little bit, you know what, we were kind of going through the motions, and I think the guy's getting right back on track right now.
I was going to ask you this, and it's in conjunction with the Brewers. You're on many of the games shows during the week. We talk about what you're doing now and your experience as a big league player. The Brewers just got off a run where they played 19 games in 18 days. In your long major league career, did you ever experience a run like that?
Man, when I listened to it, I kind of originally I thought, oh yeah, probably must have. And I don't know. I really don't recall it. Major League Baseball did try to prevent and, strategically place travel days in there for guys on a schedule. But there's times when you go far, because I remember we played 162 games before that new or the latest CBA came out. I think it was 162 games in 180 days. So your 18 days off, I believe at that time were travel days. And now I believe Major League Baseball went to 162 games in 188 or 192 days. So, man, it was tough. It was tough back then, and it's tough now, and especially when you rattle off days like that, there's no rest for the weary.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I would think during a run like that, or even when you're playing that volume of games over the course of a year, there's got to be times, and I'm sure it was more than once, where you woke up and you didn't really know where you were at, right?
There's so many times during the baseball season where you wake up and you don't even know what day it is. Your seasons and your series, as I should say, not your season, but your series roll from city to city. You wake up and you don't know if it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday game or a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then you're realizing that, hey, there's more fans tonight. Must be a weekend game. But you get lost. You definitely get lost.
It just reminds me now that we're jumping into the season here. I think that's happened to me a couple times in the woods where I doze off and I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm 25 feet in the air.
It's dark. What happened?
It's dark. Yeah. What's going on? I guess I missed the golden hour. We were at the bar too late last night. Well, Wags, it's good to hear from you, man. I know we've been kind of going back and forth and, but there really is no rest for the weary or for the wicked, because you're like, all right, we've got playoff games here, and I have this laundry list of things that I need to get done. I'm calling in my favor, Eric. I need you to come out and help. I'm scrambling a little bit here.
This is called an to-do list. That's what it's called, right? Pick up the phone and say,
I'm like,
brother,
man,
I need some help.
You let me know, because I know I can tell that you're probably stressed about this just because you're thinking, oh, my God, it's like the season's open and – everything. So how are you feeling about everything outside of baseball?
And yeah, I could easily do it. That's why when I called you in a panic and I called a couple other Oconomowoc buddies, I'm like, you know what? I tried to go out there and the mosquitoes, you know what? This hatch dump came very late in the summer, but I tell you what, they're huge. Like, there is nothing out there that can stop these monsters. And these monsters are mean, and I don't like it. So
And they're relentless.
the last thing I want to do is go out and try to do a trim them a lane or move an adjust a stand all by myself. If I'm going to get eaten, somebody else is going to get eaten with me.
Yeah. Well, and when we had talked, I had just mentioned, hey, there were a couple different spots that we've talked about over the last, 6 months of different public spots that have access locations and just where to go in and where we're seeing deer and all that stuff. And I called you and I was like, look, man, I mean, I want to look at these places, but I've tried and it's so bad. Yeah. It's not pleasant. And it's like, I even just sit here. It's like all throughout the day now. I'm like, where the hell did this mosquito bite come from?
Well, let me ask you a question though, because my wife and I had this debate the other night. We were at our nephew's football game, 8th grade football game. And she's like bringing jackets and all this stuff because she's like, the mosquitoes are going to eat me alive. And I said, it's like 55 degrees right now with the wind. And it's going to be cold, and it has been cold for the majority of this week.
Yeah.
And this weekend, today's high is in the 60s,
right?
Low 60s. Do you think, and again, we're not bug experts here, but do you think that maybe the cold weather is going to help poor Wags out?
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
It's funny,
I sure as hell hope so.
So we didn't have any flooding by us, but I'm on the other side of the road from the river that goes through Oconomowoc, and we did have quite a bit of pooling that happened in our backyard. So it's not marshland, but it certainly retains its moisture. And my poor dog was out there, and I have a picture of her. She's got 4 huge lumps on her nose because she was just getting hammered by mosquitoes one day. So I sprayed and I fogged, and I thought, okay, this is going to get better. Okay, well, it didn't get better, of course. And this was like a week and a half ago. So then this week, I'm like, this is so bad that we can't even sit out, and like we don't even want to have a fire. We don't even want to sit outside on the weekend in the morning and have a cup of coffee when it's like, sweatshirt weather. We can sit outside, watch the sunrise and all that. So I started doing some research. Well, we've talked about permethrin a lot, which is like a tick repellent, but also a mosquito repellent. And I did some research. I found this stuff. It's actually a concentrate of permethrin. So it's like a 10% permethrin, which is what most of the sprays are. And you just dilute it in water and you can spray your grass. It's pet safe. It's human safe. All you have to do is just wait for it to dry. Well, as windy as it's been, it takes 10 minutes to dry. And I wish I had an answer of yes, this is the answer, or no, this did not work either. But I did it earlier this week, and then we had a couple of those nights where it was like 40 degrees for a low. So is that pushing the mosquitoes out? Is it a combination of this spray and the weather? I don't really know, but I'm just thankful right now that I can at least turn the back patio light on when I let the dogs out at night to see if there's any deer out there and not just be absolutely swarmed with bugs, because it's bad. And from what I've heard from a lot of people, it's bad everywhere.
Well, yeah, and bear season just opened. So the boys up in Ladysmith and Holcomb, bear season opened on Wednesday the 3rd, and they were getting pummeled. They said there's mosquitoes the size of large Canadian geese that are biting them.
Well, at least you can see them coming, so you know to swat at them, right?
He says they come in numbers where you can't see it, like you're moving around and fidgeting. And I go, you know what? That's the best way to do it. But the problem is if you're deer hunting, okay, you spook a deer, or if you're on the ground with turkeys, the turkey runs off. A bear may see you twitch and say, "Hey, that looks good," and come up that ladder and eat you.
Yeah.
Did you see it now? That'll be the new segment on the show going forward. It's time now for Tales from the Tall Timber. Former big league pitcher claims that mosquitoes are as big as a 747.
They just keep growing. I mean, yeah, because they keep attacking
Tales from the
people.
Tall Timber. Hosted by Paul Wagner.
Oh, man, that's good. Well, hopefully with a couple of these nights that we've got nice cold snaps and that, I don't want to wish this on us too soon, but out of every summer that I've ever wished for fall, I'm wishing even harder this year just because of the bugs. It's been so bad and so unpleasant to do any kind of scouting and recon in advance of the season.
I hate to tell you, a lot of people listening to this are in there. Maybe they're not saying it, but they're thinking it. You're soft. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Put on a damn net around your head.
A net.
You know?
I'm going to get a net. I'm going to work on a net. Okay, click to add to cart on Amazon. A net.
Full net bodysuit.
Well,
That's what he needs.
I'm going out with some of our friends this weekend, and I'm going to do a little early teal and early goose hunting, which will be the first. And we went pheasant hunting together. So, guys, I'm really just there to record some of the activities of the morning. I just can't even think about sitting in a marsh right now. It's just it's going to be miserable.
It'd be uncomfortable, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I need the net. Yes, I'm
ready.
ready.
Are you ready? Already? Okay, here we go, Wags. It's time now for the latest with no views, just news. Here's Eric Tasker with Tailgate Talk headlines.
That is the best intro so far.
Yes, it is.
All right, so big story. We don't talk a ton of fishing on this show, but when there's topics that are of importance, we like to bring them up and kind of chat about them.
No views.
Yeah. Bassmaster partially bans forward-facing sonar for the 2026 season. Fans love it and hate it. So after the recent roll-up of the 2025 Bassmaster Elite Series, they wrapped up on the Mississippi River just outside of La Crosse. This was just recently in the last couple of weeks. They've made a decision to start putting in restrictions for the 2026 season. What those restrictions will be have not actually been fully put into effect yet. But they're trying to get some feedback from their fans, but also the anglers that are on the tour. And what they did is they actually created a live poll on their Instagram or Facebook, wherever it was, to try and get the opinions and thoughts. And they published 2 stories then for both sides of the forward-facing sonar debate. One story talks about the younger elite anglers that are ready to silence the critics, because they love technology. They want to have all the latest tech and gear. And then the other story is talking about Elite Series veterans that have been begging for this forward-facing sonar ban for years, ever since it really kind of came onto the scene. And they're getting a lot of banter back and forth. So we have talked about this a number of times, and it's like, how much tech is too much tech? At what point do we stop improving our tech, and just all of those different things?
Bring back the cane pole. That's what I say.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting just to see, because I get it.
Cane poles and bobbers, baby. Let's go.
These veteran anglers that have fished these lakes and fished these rivers for 30, 40 or more years,
right?
They're like, I know where to go. I've fished these waters many, many times. I don't need a screen to tell me where I need to be fishing, know? And then the younger guys who are trying to establish themselves, they're like, I'm going to take advantage of anything and everything that I can get.
Well, and also the younger guys don't want to put in the time and the effort.
That's true.
That the old guys do.
Yeah.
And the younger guys, Wags, will say, well, we don't have to. You had to because you didn't have the technology that we have. If you had it, you would have used it, even though you don't want to admit it.
And illegal technology, too. There's nothing at all wrong with using it as of right now.
Do you go across similar things with your side hustle, meaning baseball, with technology? I mean, from where you were back in your playing days, whether it be the minors or the major league level to where you are now, technology has affected all of us. I mean, so I'm assuming, Wags, you're seeing a lot of the similarities too, right?
100%. We just talked about it this morning again. You know what? The people are chasing the data and the information that you have. I'm not saying that information isn't helpful. It's always helpful, regardless if it's baseball or hunting or our fishing tactics, whatever it is. It is all important. But sometimes it's almost to the fact where too much is too much. I mean, the littler, the least amount of things you can do or think about are better, because guys are looking at arm angles, they're looking at shapes, they're looking at forms, they're looking at velocity, they're looking at revolutions, they're looking at vertical, they're looking at horizontal. Back in the old days, we used to look at, did you get a guy out or not? If you can't get somebody out, you can't do it. If you can catch a fish, you can catch a fish. Yes, all these little things help you, but instead of searching for the data and watching the data, like you said, go for your gut. Hey, if you think there's a bass sitting right behind that deadwood, throw a topwater over that deadwood, let it bounce over that, and boom, hit that fish. Water temperature is 33.2.77 Celsius and Fahrenheit, and there's all this stuff. Too much.
It's almost too much to just think about at a certain extent, to a certain extent as well, of, well, what if we know that the optimal water temperature is 58.6 degrees, but we're at 60 degrees. Okay, that 1.5 degrees, is that going to make a huge difference? Or no, I'm not going to fish that area. You overthink things. I mean, I for sure do. I think about that all the time, just running trail cameras and just, I'm already thinking, okay, I've had a couple bucks on camera, but I haven't had any in a week. And I know we're like 2 months out still from us actually going up north and hunting that area. I can't just resign myself to the fact of thinking, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to take a doe this year. You never know. And you just, it almost plays backwards in your mind.
Yeah.
It works against you when you have all of those things to your advantage.
Well,
and we did that. Okay, go on.
No, go ahead, Wax. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
We did that real quick. We did that. Remember last year, Tim, you even brought it up to the point of topic. You said, with this warm weather, early November, do you think the bucks are still moving? Harvest rates didn't change. Right. Bucks still have to move. They're still horny. They're still hungry. They're still thirsty. They're still running around, even though it is. Maybe you got to go in different spots. But yeah, sometimes we overthink sometimes all the logistics.
Here's the biggest flaw I see with having the access in anything, in any walk of life now with data. Data, as you said, Wags, can be very, very helpful. But when it doesn't work, with all the data you have, right, and it should work, what I'm fearful of is that people go, why? And they have no explanation. They have no reason why. Where if you have life experiences or, you don't use 100% data, there's an answer why the deer didn't show up or you didn't catch as many fish as you did that day. And it might be as simple as the data didn't show you that a certain time of day there's cloud cover, or the wind picks up because you're in this valley, or you know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. Those things that don't show up in data that do play a factor. I mean, you can't put a price tag on experience, right?
Right. No, I totally agree. I was just thinking about, I went to the Brewers game last week, Thursday, with Chris from HHA, and Quintana was pitching. And we were sitting there, and you see all the pitch speeds, and you see like the strikeout and the pitch count and all that. And maybe it wasn't a good example last week because he got into trouble pretty quick in the second inning. But he doesn't throw 100 miles an hour, but he throws the right pitches at the right time, and he's got good placement on things. He doesn't have to be a 95 to 100 mile an hour pitcher to be able to do that. He knows what he's got to do, and I think we forget about that often, that you got to look for the fresh sign, and you got to look for scrapes, and you got to look for rubs, and you got to look for all these different things and put your woodsmanship to the test and just get out there and get attacked by mosquitoes for a couple hours at a time.
I think that's another one I need you out there for. We really have to go, and I have to show you where my trails coming in from the egg fields are because the mosquitoes were so bad. I didn't have the time that I wanted. I hate it when deadfall comes because you do have to do your research and just make sure, because if a tree falls on a trail, they adapt. You can't be, I can't be set here in this northeast. I can't have my that 4-stand that sits next there, and then the 5 on a north wind. If there's a tree down on there, they're not coming on that trail. Now I got to find out. I got to find out where it is.
You mean it didn't show up on your GPS in your data printout? It didn't tell you that, Wax?
Right.
On your app, it didn't show that?
Tasks. His drone didn't go into the woods good enough for me.
I have seen that so much this summer on the golf course, where guys will walk up to their ball and they'll say, "Okay, how far are we out?"
Yeah.
Just a minute. Let me look at my phone.
Right.
And I'm looking at the 150 marker, and I'm going, okay, it's
front of
about 168.
Yeah.
And the guy will go, I swear to you, more often than not, they'll go, yeah, that's right. It's about 167. Nice job, Tim. I'm like, guys, it's not that hard.
Not that hard.
Yeah,
There's markers out there for a
You know,
reason.
look at the sprinkler head. It says 250. Guess what? Your app says the same. Hello.
Yeah, right. All right, so just to wrap this up with this forward-facing sonar, I like what this Derek Horner says from Outdoor Life at the end of it. He says, but if you ask me, the young guns are still going to catch big bags, and the veterans will still find themselves in the hunt on day 4 at any given event. It's become such a hot-button topic that everyone seems to easily forget just how good these anglers are with or without it. You know,
Right. Yeah.
These guys made it there for a reason, and it's not all based on tech. It's not all based on, luck. They've put in a lot of time, and they've been able to do this.
You know what?
And be successful with
You were
it.
just talking about that. I'll put a bow on this for us. Have you guys ever seen, whether it be on a TV show or YouTube videos, I think they call it noodling?
Noodling, yeah.
When the dudes,
Yes.
when the
Catching it with
dudes sit
hand-
on the
yeah.
dock,
Right.
and they'll put their hand down and they'll pull up fish.
Yeah.
Those dudes, I mean, they're not using sonar. They're not using an app.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm not really sure that
You know
that's
what?
something
I'll be
interested
impressed
in,
when you
but-
can noodle.
No.
Okay? That's what we're
Yeah,
saying.
no.
All right, well,
What else you got today, E?
So there were a couple world record fish catches or alligator catches. So this kid was on a fishing charter. He just wanted to catch something big, and he may have caught a world record. A 13-year-old deckhand fought an Atlantic halibut that's now a pending world record qualifier. So it's funny because Wags, you can't see it, but Tim, you can see the picture. This kid, he's
bigger than him.
5 feet tall or whatever he is as a 13-year-old. He's laying down on the floor of the boat.
And is that fish black?
Yes, he's laying down, and it's the size of him. It's just incredible.
How did he pull that in? He
I
didn't pull
don't
that in
know.
by himself.
Well, he said he fought it.
Of course he did, yeah.
Yeah, of course he did it.
He and a big grappling hook.
And experience. They did
And a winch.
They did a half-day fishing charter, running fishing charter for many years now.
There's no way that guy brought that in by himself. There's no way.
He caught an 8-pound pollock earlier, and then they used an 8-pound pollock that they had caught earlier, and
So they were baiting fish.
Well, it's different there.
Sorry.
And it took him over an hour to get this thing in. It's just kind of crazy to think that there's
Well,
like
it took
such
an
a
hour to get the
large
batteries
fish
hooked up
out
to the
there.
winch and got it close to the boat.
So it's
they
going to
could
be an
spool it up.
international game fishes youth category, 16 and under. As of right now, it's
Okay.
not official,
All right.
but it's a world
You
record.
take that photo and you send it to Paul Wagner. And Wags, you know what? We won't have time in this segment because I know you got to run. But I want you to text us back. I want you to say either this is BS or, well, wow. Because when I'm looking at this, ain't no way this kid brought this fish in by himself.
Yeah, I don't really understand how that's even possible, to be quite
It's a great,
honest.
you know what? I think they have a term for it, don't they, Wags? It's called fish story, I think.
Fish story tales from the tall timber.
Yeah, there we go.
Here we go.
Oh, my. I got it. You did send it to me.
Look
I
at
got
this.
It. Came through.
There's no way,
Look at
Wags.
that.
There's no way.
I mean, it's just insane.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
All right, well, we're going to go catch halibut
you
this
fished in Florida.
offseason.
I've fished in Florida. There ain't no way this kid brought that in by himself.
I caught it with 6-pound test.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's going to
right.
be some obnoxious
Yeah.
story like that. Do we still have a couple minutes?
We do.
Okay.
We got about 6 minutes.
All right, Wags. I thought you might find this of interest. Just talking about, with me coming out with my drone and doing some photos of your food plots, and We talk so much. This is how this all kind of relays back to technology and how is this kind of advancing things. Well, the biggest thing the last couple of years is, we got to think about wind, where the wind direction's coming from, how fast it's blowing. But a lot of people talk about thermals quite a bit when it comes to, trying to harvest a big deer. And I didn't listen to the entire podcast, but there's a guy that spent an entire year following mature bucks with his thermal drone. So, night activity,
right.
It can track deer by heat signal. And he says that bucks like to travel with thermals to their favor, not wind. Yeah,
really?
Wind does play. Wind does not play near as much of a role. I mean, it can if it overpowers thermals. If wind is 10, 15 plus miles an hour and it's really disrupting thermals and making things volatile, then wind can play a massive role. But if things are kind of suboptimal and you're getting 3 to 7 mile an hour winds, then thermals are going to be their game that they're playing. And the idea that mature bucks are always moving with the wind in their face or moving through crosswind whenever they're crossing saddles, I have struggled to find a correlation in that. So This guy spent an entire year of following these mature whitetails and trying to get some more information on this long debate. And of course, this is a sample size of one. Okay, so however many deer this guy has found.
Why didn't he just go to an analytics site that would generate the data he needed, so he didn't waste that entire year of his life following deer?
Well, maybe he really likes flying his drone.
Okay.
He paid for it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because we think about that, and I think we always play a favor to one or the other. Okay, in the morning, thermals are doing this, and at night, or, temps are cooling or rising, whatever it might be. We just put so many different thoughts into what stand are we going to sit in, what day are we going to hunt, when are we going to be out there. It's nice to have some backup and to know that wind plays a role, but only to a certain extent, and that they're, kind of relying on some of their natural instincts with the thermals and how they're kind of pulling their senses and all of that. But
I play wind. How do you play it? Like my number one, you can say anything you want about thermals. You can say anything about outerwear. You can say anything about scents. I play wind, and I always believe that wind is the number one thing. And maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, Wags, I just kind of go out and I sit in the woods. Do I take some of that stuff into consideration? Yeah, of course. But, when we go up north, I've got my tree that I sit in, and, we kind of monitor that area to kind of get an idea. But I guess when I'm down here and I'm kind of bouncing around between a bunch of different public spots, I think I take that into consideration with wind a lot more, just purely for the fact that I like to, be facing with the wind at my advantage, so that if I am able to move, or I'm able to sit on a different side of a tree, or maybe I sit on a different edge of like a bottom or whatever it is, I will take that into consideration. But I don't know. Sometimes I'm just maybe that's why I'm not as good as I like to think.
I got so many guys that when they go out, they'll wear their, even let's just go back to gun hunting. Mm-hmm. They'll wear their orange jacket and they'll go have a fish fry before they go out.
Yeah.
They smoke cigarettes. They pee out of the stand. They play the wind, and they do have successes. This isn't like guys that do this that he has 2 or 3 stands. He plays the wind, but he does not take care of the things that we think are so important. And that's the one I looked, and I only learned it through observation. I'm like, how do you shoot that animal when you sat in the bar with your jacket on, eating a fish fry? You went outside and had about 14 cigarettes. Then you came in there and you take a leak, and then you go make breakfast, and deer are coming by you. How does that happen?
Well, I will tell you this, similar to that my grandfather was adamant. Breakfast was at 4:30. We were in the woods by 5 because he was adamant you had to be in when it was still dark and it was sunrise. I do not remember walking to a deer stand until I moved off the farm without a flashlight in my hand or a headlamp on or something like that. And as I got older, I thought I was smarter. I'm like, you know what? That's just old stuff.
Right.
And, I'd stroll in the woods 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, whatever, because I was probably having a fish fry, although I didn't have any heaters, but I would have a fish fry the night before, Wags. But you know what? More often than not, I wouldn't see anything.
Yeah.
And so then I went this way, honestly, for about a couple of years. And I thought, and it was the same land we hunted when I was a kid. My grandfather by that time was not able to hunt anymore. And so he kept on saying to me, what time are you in the woods? And I would say, well, I get in there when I get in there. He goes, no, you got in before dark. So guess what happens?
Yeah.
I go back in the woods and I shot one of the biggest bucks I'd ever shot in my life.
Yeah.
Because I went in when it was dark.
Right.
And I'm like, I got to shut this old man up. I got to prove that it's wrong.
Right.
And he was dead on.
Yeah.
Because it was sunrise, Wags, and it was about maybe 20 minutes after the sun came up, and lo and behold, there he was. And I'm just like, Grandpa, you were right. And you can't download that in an app.
Right.
No, you
because he had all those years of experience of doing that and
that.
having success.
You've had lots of experience as a pitching coach, as a major league pitcher. We're going to wrap the segment up. Kind of fill us in. What's going on for the next couple of days for you? You're still looking for help, right? You're taking volunteers. You want us to put in a call to the Conservation Corps, something like that, up with people, something like that, right?
Exactly. Or I might take some of these pitchers, regardless of the outcome, before they go home. I may say, this is a really great baseball adventure that we need to take on. This will only enhance and increase the chances of your career to succeed. Come out here and cut branches and get eaten by mosquitoes.
You know what? I just had a brainstorm. Inside the park, you guys have a training facility, right?
Yes.
Well, just spin it off like it's an Ironman. It's it's another training thing, right? So call it like Wags Hardcore Fitness or something like that. And they'll think they're getting stronger physically, mentally while they're cutting brush and swapping mosquitoes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember when remember the boys up in Madison had like the Muddy Girl or the Muddy. Yeah. I think they had a Muddy Girl. I'm gonna have the Muddy Pitcher event.
Wags, you just got to sell it as hand-eye coordination.
It was called the Tough Mudder.
Yes, hand-eye.
Oh
yeah, Tough Mudder.
Tough Mudder. Yeah, Wags has got a Tough Mudder for you. Come over here. I'll show you. Hey, buddy, thanks for joining us for a few minutes on this Saturday. We'll hook up next week. Okay.
Sounds great. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Maybe this isn't your tailgate pack that you want.
Right.
But go in, grab a variety of brats, grab a variety of burgers, do what you got to do, and get ready. Because, we're still in baseball season. There's still a lot of tailgating happening there.
One thing I want to mention about
Just
Bunzel's,
everything
too.
going on.
Right. Okay. So we because we talk about it every week, they have the meat. The steal a line from a fast food chain, right?
Yes.
They have the meat. But they also have the accessories, right?
Yeah. They've got an entire deli counter. So if you need pasta salads or beans or, whatever. But they also have a small kind of convenience store where they've got your barbecue sauces, probably 800 of them, a bunch of different ketchups, like your croutons, whatever you kind of need to go with your meal. They probably have it at Bunzel's.
All right. So burger made how? They say, how do you want your burger? What do you say? Well done, medium?
I'm a medium kind of guy.
See, I'm medium. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not rare. My brother-in-law eats it rare. I'm like, you're nuts.
Yeah, no, I don't do that either.
Have you heard of salmonella? But anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm a medium guy. All right. Okay. So cheese. I'm a cheeseburger guy like Drew. Okay. So so what's your cheese? Your go-to?
Yeah, I'm usually a nice thick double slice of cheddar.
Okay, you're a cheddar guy.
Yeah.
I'm a Jack. What's the
Pepper Jack?
Pepper Jack. Sorry, my mind just went blank.
I like those too.
I had jalapeno stuck in my
That'd
head.
probably be a number 2.
Yeah, Pepper Jack that's how I roll. My wife looks at me like, we have to buy 2. Yes, we do. We have to buy 2 brands.
Yeah.
So Pepper Jack. Okay.
So what kind of accoutrements are you doing with your?
I'm very particular.
Okay.
Oh, I put a little Miracle Whip on the bottom. Can't be mayo. It's got to be Miracle Whip.
Little tang.
On the top, I'm not a ketchup. I'm not a mustard guy.
Okay.
I put on barbecue sauce on the top.
Okay, yeah, that's
now,
great.
some people call it Western burger. They throw some bacon on
right.
it. I always put some barbecue sauce and then 2 pickles. Not
Okay.
3, not 4, but 2 sliced dill pickles.
So I'm usually like the medallion pickles, like whatever those are. I mean,
Right.
not the actual slices, but just the individual rounds. I like to do a little, I'm a mayo on the bottom, a little round to cover the bottom
I
bun.
forgot to. Sorry. I forgot. If at all possible, I want on the bottom a slice of tomato.
Okay.
I'm a huge. My wife got after me this week because we threw away, about 4 or 5 slices.
Sure.
I go, honey, it's 1 tomato.
Yeah.
We had burgers the other night. I love a slice of tomato on my burger.
Yeah.
I'm weird.
I don't know if I could take or leave the
How about onions?
tomato. No, because ever since I
See,
had
people-
COVID,
yeah,
I can smell an onion if it was in the building right now.
Okay, how about bun?
Yeah, like brioche buns.
Pretzel?
Pretzel buns are great.
Yeah.
If you really want to be fancy and do a pretzel bun. I have, this Blackstone has really
Spoiled
changed
you. Yeah.
my life.
It's funny.
Because you can do your bacon, you can do your toasted bun, you can do your burgers, you can do whatever you want right on there.
It's so funny. I sit here and I go, okay, what kind of bun? And you go brioche, and I say pretzel bun. I just flash back to when I was a kid, and I'm like, wait a minute. We had white bread.
Right.
We had either Wholesome or we had Wonder
you get
Bread.
a slice of bread.
You got a slice of bread.
Yeah.
You put it in between,
Right.
And then the burger would be a little bit greasy, so then it would be,
Mush.
But it was delicious.
Right.
It was delicious. It was delicious. It was delicious.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of that actually, and it helps to have the Blackstone because you can do all of the things you need.
Blackstones
toast
are
your bun,
amazing.
do whatever. We just made burgers not that long ago. I think it was like maybe on Sunday. And I toasted the buns, put a nice slab of butter
Yep.
on there to
Yep.
just
I
kind of
do that
soften
too.
them up. And I bring them inside, and Sherry's like, the buns are soggy. I'm like, the buns are soggy? I'm like, no, I buttered them and I toasted them. You're not used to having warm buns is what it is. Don't give me this soggy business.
I thought this was going to be a relationship segment there for a minute, but we'll stay away from that.